and we had like this crazy storm last night. And so you guys know, or maybe some of you don't, because there's a lot of new faces around. I'm waiting for Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube over here, Instagram. When I'm looking here, I'm talking to you. Um, if you are watching from Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, I can't see you unless you comment. And so please comment. We had a very interactive discussion yesterday, and that was phenomenal because some great insights came out. We are working through a book study. We're doing The Power of Now by request from you all. We're on chapter 4, almost done with chapter 4. And this book is a very powerful book for those of you that want to learn to tap into your spirituality. A lot of times in this day and age, people think that spirituality is consulting with tarot and astrology and making those almost like another thing that you give your power away to instead of using them more as a tool. And true spirituality is learning how to transcend your emotions and your feelings through deliberate choice and to live most of your life in the feeling of the now. So that is what this book is about, how to live life from your true being, because in your true being, you learn how to not only move from forward from pain and the things that maybe have held you back in the past, but you also learn how to avoid those things while also living more fully. The air conditioner just came on. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Very quickly, before I get into chapter 4, the rest of chapter 4, we'll be moving into chapter 5 tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7:30. So we have this live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Immediately after at 7:30, I am doing a Learn to Protect Your Energy class. And in this class, I'm going to teach you tips and tools so that you don't let negative people or negative situations impact your energy so much. And I'll also be teaching you more about how energy works and why it's very important for you to make sure that when at all possible, you try to protect yourself from negative energy because it impacts your life whether you know it or not. And then if you have problems with implementing boundaries, so you do find that you're somebody that is picking up on things and they start to impact you, this class is going to teach you some boundary work so you'll know how to um, assert proper boundaries in your relationships and circumstances so you don't let these things impact you as much. I don't know what this little crazy little piece of hair is. Anyway, let's get started. Hey, Billy Be Kind. And Mindful Mishi. I think I'm saying that right. Okay, so we are on chapter 4. We're going to end chapter 4 off kind of talking about what we did yesterday when we were talking about how, we have these choices in our life to help us to decrease the suffering. But a lot of the times if we have to stay in a situation that is less than optimal, we don't accept it. And so we continue to perpetuate this suffering instead of learning what it means to truly accept. And then from that space, tap into our power. Because a lot of the answers and a lot of the information that we need in order to move forward, especially when we do feel lost and we do feel like we're in a situation that is less than optimal, is when we actually come into that space of being. So for this part, he says, are you worried? Do you have many what if thoughts? You are identified with your mind, which is projecting itself into an imaginary future situation and creating fear. Because remember, the future is not real. It's not a real moment. Um, it's not a real moment. It's as simple as that. There is no way that you can cope with such a situation because it doesn't exist. It's a mental phantom. You can stop this health corroding. This is health corroding and life corroding insanity simply by acknowledging the present moment. Become aware of your breathing, which is why a lot of times if I do have clients that feel irritable or they feel triggered or they feel worried, and usually again that worry and anxiety is more from, you know, approaching life thinking about the future state, then this breath work helps connect you back to your true being, which is the being that is in this moment right now. So become aware of your breathing, feel the air flowing in and out of your body, feel your inner energy field. All that you ever have to deal with, cope with in real life, as opposed to this imaginary mind projection stuff that we do when we're worrying and we're having anxiety and we're thinking about the future and all the things, is this moment now. This is the only thing that we have that's real. So ask yourself, what problem do you have right now? Not in 5 minutes, not next year, not tomorrow. What is wrong with this moment? Because the true thing that you're going to be able to deal with and cope with most effectively. Now, he's going to talk about this a little bit more in this particular part of the chapter. It's not that we're not preparing for the future. Remember, because we did talk about how we can go forward and we can start to deal with this time, chronological time, to help us to plan for our future. But a lot of us get stuck in psychological time, where we are stuck in this future worrying and anxiety. And when we get stuck in that, we are trying to cope with a moment that's not real. So what he's saying that is that when we start to bring our breath back to now, it helps us connect to the true being that we are. And in this true moment, what problem do we have right now? Again, not next year, not tomorrow, not 5 minutes from now. What is wrong with this moment? You can always cope with the now, but you can never cope with the future, nor do you have to. The answer, the strength, the right action, or the resource will be there when you need it, not before and not after. One day I'll make it. Is your goal taking up so much of your attention that you reduce the present moment to a means to an end? Is it taking the joy out of your doing? Are you waiting to start living? If you develop such a mind pattern, no matter what you achieve or get, the present will never be good enough and the future will always seem better. And this is a perfect recipe for permanent dissatisfaction and non-fulfillment. Don't you agree? Now, I want you to pay attention here, because some people will take this to mean, then why are we setting goals? So we set goals because we live in this human practical world, right? And there are certain things that we have to project into the future to think about. But once we go there to figure out what it is that we want to particularly experience at that time, that doesn't mean that we live there. And I teach this all the time, particularly if there were those of you that followed the book study when we were going through Atomic Habits. You have this goal, or you have this vision for your life moving forward. However, the way that you make an impact on that goal or on that outcome or on that vision is not by continuously looking at it from where you are now and thinking that you're not going to be happy or you're not going to be able to experience the life that you want until you get there. The way that you impact that moment in the future chronologically, the clock time that he talks about, is by the actions that you take now. And we can make all the excuses that we want, and we can pretend that there are situations and circumstances that are holding us back from participating in what we can do in this moment in time to make our lives better. But at the end of the day, the only person that has control over how the future is going to go is you. And the only way that you can do that is by the now, right? If you have a financial situation, you're not going to solve it by continuing to look into the future, wishing that you had more money and thinking to yourself that when you get more money, things are going to get better. The way that you shift the situation is in the only moment that is real. So in the moment that is real, the now, what are some things that you can do to start to feel or call in more financial resources so that you can start to create the abundance in what is real? Because if you continue to project into the future and have this chronic dissatisfaction and non-fulfillment about where you are now, however, at the same time, you're unwilling to change, it's a choice, and then you can act on it. But if you are unwilling to change and do some of the things that you can do to call in abundance, such as manifestation techniques, such as shifting your mindset, such as subconscious reprogramming, rather than thinking that these things don't work because your current situation is not changing, then you are missing the whole point of what it is that is going to help you to shift your situation. And what really and truly is going to help you to shift your situation is being able to recognize that if you want to impact how tomorrow is going to be, or the next day, or the next day is going to be, what is going to change that is how you show up in the now. And if you think it's too hard, and if you have these little decision points where you can either choose the way that you used to do things versus choose a different way of approaching your life, and at every moment in time you continue to choose the situation that is going to keep you in your current state, then no matter what you do, no matter what you learn, no matter no matter what type of tool or lesson you try to throw at it, if you're not proactively doing what it is that you need to do, then it's not going to change. Because remember, he said you have choices. You have a choice when you're in something that you don't like. You have a choice to act on it, and if you act on it, your moment in the next minute, in the next second, even though if you don't see it shifting, it will shift. The evidence that you are currently experiencing, the life that you are currently experiencing, what the mirror is showing you in this current moment in time is an accumulation of your past decisions, not the decisions that you are making now. There is a lag time between your actions and what you experience. And that's where that faith kicks in. But if you are not going to take action, then guess what your other choice is, right? You just have to accept that you've chosen that you're not going to do what it is that is required of you to make these changes, to shift the moments in the future so that they don't look like the moment that you're currently experiencing that. And if you have made that choice, then it's not anybody else's decision except for yours. And at that place, then you just have to accept the fact that that is what your life is going to be based on the decision that you've made. He also asks, are you a habitual waiter? How much of your life do you spend waiting? What I call small scale waiting is waiting in line at the post office, in a traffic jam, the airport, waiting for someone to arrive to finish work, so on and so forth. But large scale waiting is waiting for the next vacation, for a better job, for better circumstances, for your children to grow up, or for truly meaningful relationships or success, or to make more money, or be important, or become enlightened, blah, 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 blah. And it is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. But remember, this is the problem when you wait and you wait and you wait and you don't do what you need to do in the now in order for you to shift the energy of the future moments that you may experience if you are a lucky human being. Is that in those moments of wait time, with you not changing anything and you not doing anything different, you're going to be continuously waiting, because these things start to get further and further away from you as you continue to wait in the next moment, in the next moment. I hope that's making sense for you. Waiting is a state of mind, he says. Basically, it means that you want the future, but you don't want the present. You don't want what you've got, and you want what you don't have. With every kind of waiting, you unconsciously create inner conflict between your here and now, where you don't want to be, and the projected future where you want to be. And this greatly reduces the quality of your life by making you lose the present. So this is kind of what I'm trying to articulate. Every moment that you think that your happiness or your security or whatever is going to come from some arbitrary energy shift that happens in the future is a moment that you spend wasting by not understanding how powerful you are to tap into your being, to do things different and to do things more powerfully so that you are actively shaping that thing that you are waiting for. Waiting is very passive. How can you be more active, more proactive in what it is that you want to experience in your life? And until you can start to make that shift in your mind, the suffering and the struggle that you continue to see will continue to perpetuate because you have made a choice not to change anything. And if you make the choice not to change anything, then at that point you have to be able to take responsibility that the opportunity for you to do some of the things that you need to do or that you can do and that you have the ability to do, you are just choosing not to do. So just think about it that way. There is nothing wrong with striving to improve your life situation. You can improve your life situation, but you cannot improve your life. Life is primary. Life is your deepest inner being. And you, as a living being, you are already whole, complete, and perfect. However, the life that you exist in and the situations that you experience within that life, your life situation, you can improve that. And you can improve that by setting goals and striving to achieve things. Again, I mentioned this yesterday. A lot of times we know what to do. We just have to acknowledge that we've chosen not to do them. There is nothing wrong with setting goals, and striving to achieve new things through action, right? And through growth and through maturity and through responsibility, all of the things that it's going to take for us to get ourselves unstuck. But the mistake lies in using it as a substitute for the feeling of life, for being, because they're two different things. Your life circumstance and your life situation versus the life of who you are as a being, the breath you take, the person that you are when you detach from all the things that trap you. That is already pure, that is already perfect. The only point of access for that is the now. You are then like an architect who pays no attention to the foundation of a building, but spends a lot of time working on the superstructure. A lot of times when people first started doing this inner work and this spiritual enlightenment to become a spiritual being, live from that space, right, where you're actually practically creating the life that you want, a lot of times people want to skip, especially if you're in pain, right? And if things are less than desirable, it's understandable that you want to project into the future and you want things to be better and you want things to change and you don't feel like you can have a piece of that right here in the right now. However, what you can do in this moment now and what's really going to make those moments in the future change. I already keep harping on this because a lot of people just don't get it. They think that there's some magic pill that you swallow that or some way that someone is going to come and save you and help you, when you have to understand that to be an architect of your life, you don't start building the walls and the window and the bathroom and all of those things first. You really have to create a solid foundation. And we all know, unfortunately, just based on certain things that have happened in the media recently, that when you don't take care of the structure and the foundation of architecture, it doesn't hold up well. So there is this space where you're going to have to work on building a different and better foundation. And you don't do that in the future, nor do you do that from the past, because the past is just a memory. You do that in the right now. Many people are waiting for prosperity. It cannot come in the future. When you honor, acknowledge, and fully accept your present reality, where you are, who you are, and what you're doing right now, when you fully accept what you got, you are grateful for what you have got, and you're grateful for what is and grateful for being, then you know that you nailed something. Gratitude for the present moment and the fullness of life now is true prosperity. It's not going to come to you in some future moment. Then in time, the prosperity will start to manifest itself in different ways. But again, for some of you, this is not what you want to hear. You either want to make an excuse that your prosperity and the things that you want in the life that you want to live is in front of you, and because you can't seem to understand how you can fill that gap in the now, it just continues to get further and further away from you, and you look around and you get frustrated and irritated and maybe stressed out and burnt out because you're not able to live the life that you want. And it's because you are approaching it from a perspective that just continues to create more distance as each moment passes. When, if you can understand that this true moment in time is what shapes your future, and you take advantage of what you need to do right now in order to shape the future, no excuses, right? You just do it because you know that this is what's going to help create a better future for yourself. In time, what you will see is that the prosperity that you think is way over there, the abundance that you think is way over there, the better life that you think is way over there, ends up starting to materialize and manifest right before your eyes. But if you don't understand this, and I'm not even going to say understand this, if when confronted with doing the work, taking action, being different, making better choices, embracing your highest and best self, if you cannot gain the control and the discipline in order to do that, then you're not going to be able to experience that prosperity in the now. This is how you change your life. This is how you change your life fast. This is how you manifest. This is how you reprogram. It is all about the work that you do right now. It's all about the choices that you make right now. It's all about the tools that you integrate right now. If you are dissatisfied with what you've got, or even frustrated or angry about your present lack, that may motivate you to become rich. But even if you do make millions, you will continue to experience the inner condition of lack, and deep down you will continue to feel unfulfilled. You may have many exciting experiences that money can buy, but they will come and go and always leave you with this empty feeling and a need for further physical or psychological gratification. You won't abide in being, because remember, the key is tapping into the being as much as you can in your day-to-day living. And because you want to abide in the being, you won't be able to feel the fullness of life right now. So you will have this prosperity elude you. So give up waiting as a state of mind. When you catch yourself slipping into waiting, and I'm going to say not even slipping into waiting, because to me, making an excuse for why you can't do what you need to do right now, even if it's a small action, because remember in Atomic Habits book study, we talked about it only takes 1% shift for you to start to create this momentum that will then have prosperity manifest to you in various ways that you wouldn't understand why or how they came into your life, these prosperity moments, right? So if you give up waiting as a state of mind, and give up the inaction as a state of mind. When you catch yourself slipping into waiting, snap out of it, come into the present moment, enjoy being. And if you're present, there is never a need for you to wait for anything. So the next time somebody says, sorry to have kept you waiting, you can reply, that's all right. I wasn't waiting. I was just standing here enjoying myself, enjoy in myself. Now, I realize some of this can seem a little bit esoteric, so I want you to think of it as a metaphor for the fact that if you are living in the present moment and your focus is on living in your being and being the best person that you can be, because you know that the next day, tomorrow, the next minute, the next month, the next year, you want to experience a certain kind of life for yourself, then you're going to find that it is more enjoyable, because even if everything around you is going to crap, If you trust, like I'm saying this, right? A different spiritual teacher is saying the same thing. Many different teachers are telling you the same thing. So these are time tested things that you have to be able to integrate in order for you to change your life. So if you are doing these things, you're going to find that life even becomes more enjoyable, even in situations that would be less than ideal, because the game for you now is, okay, well, all of this is happening around me, but that doesn't really have to be my reality, right? Because all the stuff that I'm experiencing right now is a lag time. So it almost becomes a game, like, okay, well, then what can I do today so that I can start to see these future moments that I'm experiencing change a little bit? And as you start to play this game with yourself and with your reality, you're going to start to notice that when you do little things that are different, when you shift these little 1% increments in your life, and you start to notice that, if you know, little by little, prosperity starts to manifest in your life in various ways, life becomes more enjoyable. But the reason why your life is becoming more enjoyable is because you've decided that you're going to be a willing participant in living right now. That's what he's basically trying to say. So he says, these are just a few of the habitual mind strategies for denying the present moment that are part of the ordinary unconsciousness. Ordinary unconsciousness, remember, we said was habitual resistance to or denial of what is. And it creates this discontent, and people mistake that as being a normal part of their life. So most people are living in ordinary unconsciousness. They are easy to overlook, these present moments, and they're also, it can make it easy for you to overlook the instances in your life where you may be getting in your own way, because they are so much a part of normal living. So you may say, oh, my life is not changing, these things are not working, etc., etc., etc. If you find yourself in that state, the first clue, and he already talked about this, I've talked about this if you go back and listen to any of my teachings, that is a clue to you that you're not living life from your being state. You're living life unconsciously. But the more that you can practice, takes practice. This is not something that's going to change overnight. This is something that you are going to have to make a decision to practice in your life. And the more that you practice monitoring your inner emotional state, it will be easier for you to understand and know where you have been trapped in the past or the future. And that is a clue to you that you are living unconsciously. And you have to decide as much as you can in your life to wake up. And if you want to continue to live the life of an unconscious, ordinary unconscious person, then you're going to have to understand that this discontent and this static baseline that you experience will never change. It will never change, because we are the creators of our future. All right, let's see. What else do I want to tell you about this chapter? Hey, Gemstone, let's see. One last thing I want to talk about is the inner purpose of your life journey. So he states that when you're on a journey, it is certainly helpful to know where you're going, or at least the general direction of where you're moving. But don't forget that, I just talked about this earlier in the discussion, the step that you take in the moment is what's going to create the future that you want to experience. So again, we know that a lot of people just want a magic pill, especially when they have this pain going on, when in fact they have to build a foundation. And to build a foundation that's going to stand the test of time means that you're going to have to kind of move slower before you can move faster, which is also about learning to live in that presence through that self-awareness, through waking up in your life. Now, that's one part of it, right? The second part of it is you, as the creator of your life, have to know where you're going. And I talked about the fact that if you don't know where you want to go, and for us human beings in this world, it's usually through intentions and goals, then you're going to be going nowhere. It's almost like you take a trip, you want to take a trip somewhere, but you don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know where you're going. You don't have a map. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to get there, or you might get there, but you might get there in a roundabout way, and you might get there in a very scattered way. And so part of your power as a human being that gets to create the life that they want to live is by choosing a sense of direction, a goal. Where are you going? Where, your journey? What are you moving towards? And there's so many of us in life that think that these goals don't matter. And they think that, how, he's talking about the pain body and all the things that we experience when we feel stuck in what we feel to be an undesirable situation. So we feel like having a sense of direction won't help. But without the foundation and without the sense of direction, you still are not going to be moving intentionally in the direction you want to go. Because how do you know what you need to focus on in this moment now in order to take you forward? And for everybody, it's different. I have clients pick 7 areas of life and kind of examine what they want that to look like. And it doesn't mean that you have to work on 7 goals all at the same time, but I do recommend that you work on at least 3. And I do recommend that at least one of them be personal, because you want to understand, even as a person, yes, you want to grow, you want to mature, you want to be better, but that is very vague. And maturing and growing and better for you is different than it is for me. So specifically, what does that look like in your life? Because even in that sense, it causes you to be a little bit vague, not have a sense of direction. And again, it's like going on a trip without a map. All right, so we will leave today's discussion there. Tomorrow we'll be able to start on chapter 5, so I'm so excited. For ladies in the Personal Mastery membership, we do have a live Q&A, so I'm going to pop over to our live Q&A for those of you that participated. Mainly it was Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube today, so thank you for participating. Ladies in the membership, I see ECJ Robertson and Robert. Hey, I will see you over in our Zoom for today, where we'll be doing our Q&A on how to regulate our feelings so we can manifest, which will build up nicely on what we discussed here in our discussion today. For those of you that want to join the membership, I haven't brought it up. I was going to bring it up in our Protect Your Energy class tomorrow. But if you want to join the membership, let me know and I'll send you details about it so you can learn more about it and see if it's right for you. All right. I'll see you ladies over in the Q&A. All right. Bye.